The Natural Square Scientific Forecasting Instrument. Today we're going to explain this instrument using the last low of February 4th, and we're going to align the center of this square and the peripherals around it so that we can understand how to forecast time and price using this enigmatic tool. Welcome back to Market Master. I'm Roland Attenborough, and I am the leading scientific Gann researcher under William Delbert Gann, my guide, teacher. Let's begin. This enigmatic tool is comprised of several key features, and I have learned how to align all these features so that we could backtest all the works of William Delbert Gann, especially when he speaks about the longitude of prices or how to use the square here coupled with time to find resistance and support levels. This is the Pythagoras cube, and it starts at 1 and it moves around in perfect numerical order, continuously growing. We do not miss any numbers. Why is this so important, this tool? Well, looking at this tool has a certain mathematical features. So you've probably heard in your life when something goes wrong, you go back to square one, and square one is at the center here. From there, we talk about the numerical placement of numbers. And speaking about numbers, they organize themselves exactly. Let us therefore extrapolate that meaning. All the odd squares in numbers line up here: 3 times 3, 5 times 5, 7 times 7, 9 times 9, 11 times 11, 13 times 13, 15 times 15, 17 times 17, and the square of the circle, 19 times 19 for 361. Exactly on the opposite side of the sine wave of this Pythagoras cube, or the square of 9, we start off with the even numbers. And 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 4 is 16. 6 times 6 is 36. 8 times 8 is 64. 10 times 10 is 100. 12 times 12 is 144. And you get the idea. So all the even squares of numbers come out this way. So now we can use this tool to figure out where resistance levels or support levels can happen in prices, as well as in our daily lives. However, as good as I am at using this tool, I've only put my life on the square. I do not do this for other people, as I do not wish to know when your demise is. However, I can do it to point out when you will experience things in your life like I have. Let's now go ahead and let's start to add some other layers. We'll talk about the zodiac here. The zodiac is set up at 0 degrees Aries, which is the 12th hour, or 2 minutes before midnight is the 28th degree of Pisces. And of course the Exodus. I want to also point out this purple numbers here, the sidereal time. So we have a 24-hour clock in 1 year, just like we do in military time for 1 day. And sidereal time begins and ends always at the same time every year, every single ephemeris. It never changes. So you can see what hour the planets are in according to the natural time. And when I was born, which is May 19th, which is the 28th degree of Taurus, it is exactly 1547. Every year, May 19th, sidereal time is 1547, so it never changes. In the Bible, they talk about sidereal time. No man will know the hour when things happen. Well, I believe that a wise man, carefully observing nature, is able to do these things. So the beginning and the ending of the sidereal time is at the end of Virgo, the Virgin, and beginning into the 0 degrees of Libra, starting the time. Notice this symbol here has a big circle bump on top of the line, so it's indicating the beginning and the ending. We'll discuss that later on in some tutorials that we do regarding the longitude of time and some sidereal operations. Most of my colleagues do get confused by the sidereal time. There's 2 hours of sidereal time to 1 sign of the zodiac. So for 12 signs, we have the 24 placements. Let's begin now with taking a real-world example of how we would use this tool on Bitcoin. Let us therefore begin. Next, we're going to talk about the circle or the date ring. And on this date ring, I want to point out that we have a green ring. It's green for going up in price. And we have a red side with the dates of the year going this way so that we can utilize it for when markets go up in price. We use the green outside ring. And when prices go down, we use the red part of the ring coupled with our square. So let us now just place this on here and we're going to discuss how this works. So on a fixed cycle, I usually use a fixed cycle for most of these observations. However, I'd like to show you how we can turn this dial and line up dates with numbers here, and we can find our next resistance levels and the next time points where we think time has a high probability of change, utilizing the proportionate parts of the circle. Let's continue on with the next layer. The next layer, and very important layer, is the circle ring. And we take the circle and we do not do anything different. We just keep adding the proportionate parts of the circle, and this is how we find longitude of prices, which we'll talk about later on. But right now we're just interested in the red lines on this circle, which are the 8 octaves of time. So we're looking for when price or time comes together at any one of these points as we turn it and align it with price and the high and low of a market. Let's continue on with this. So in real world, we know that Bitcoin made a low at 59,000 on February 4th. So how would we use this tool to align to those peripherals so we could make some observations? Well, let's just go ahead and let's do that. So I'm going to find February 4th on our dial here, and February 6th when we made a low, and it's right where my finger is. So I'm going to move this dial now all the way around till we line up with 59. And I'm going to take the circle ring now and align it with 0 with our date right here. So 59, 0 degrees is lined up with February 6th. So the tool now is set up for looking for points and pressure points, not only numerically, but in time. Let's go have a look. Here I've wrote out in my booklet so that we can take a look at it and utilize the numbering and the system that we're talking about. So we've lined up February 6th, our low at 59K, and we're calling that 0 degrees. And 59 starts out here, and as we move 45 degrees, which is March 24th, let's go take a look. I want to show you how this works. So from 0, March 23rd and 24th here is 45 degrees, and it lines up on 62.5 right here. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at another observation as we move ahead in time, 90 degrees to May 8th. That's when we've had our current top at 84. We'll discuss that later on here, but let's continue to have a look at this. 90 degrees brings us to May 7th and May 8th. And of course, the market made a top at 84,000 or 82.3 thousand or 82.9, sorry, because Jupiter was sitting there on our longitude. So I want to point out now, so we have two very, very important points. The sun has moved 90 degrees and price has moved 270 degrees and has met resistance. Let's continue on with our observations. Our next point is 135 days or degrees, and that brings us to June 21st. And on our ring going up from our low would represent 70.5. Right here, 70.5, June 21st to the 23rd. Next in our observations is the 180 degree point, which is a very important point, and equals August 8th. And August 8th, 75 is sitting there. Okay, so as we move around, the 180 degrees is 75. Right there. So you can see how this tool is working as we move around. The 225 degree area, September 23rd, and it sits on 79. Right, 79. Here's our 225 degree area, and it's sitting just on this time frame that we're talking about of September 23rd. Next in importance is to 270 degree area right here. 270 degrees equals November 7th. That's going to be our 13th month from our top, and I believe a low will be coming in. Right now on the square it shows 85. On the inner side of the square it shows 38. We're going to talk about this right now. So, moving around 270 degrees to this November 7th period, 84 is directly right there. The next ring, or I should say the next square inside, would bring us down into this area here. From 84 would be 52. And this represents an area here where we could see the market settling in. However, I still believe that the market will be making its way down to 38 and 41 on the square here. And I've noted that